5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is fear.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Endurance Nation podcast. I'm Coach Patrick, your host on these different episodes that cover interviews with our members and with industry leaders, as well as regular topics that are pertinent to endurance athlete success. This time around, it's getting close to the fall, and I wanted to let you know that our season is kicking off on November 1st. That's right. Endurance Nation works through seasons, and our winter training program kicks off in earnest on November 1st. If you head over to endurancenation.us, you'll be able to enter your email address to get all the details about what's coming up and learn why starting in November is super important and how we can work with you over the course of the winter using our patented out-season program and the subsequent training phases of the year to create the conditions and knowledge you need to be your better and faster self. And if you're ready to get started early, can't wait till November 1st, we have a durability program for you too. So once again, head over to endurancenation.us, enter that email, learn more about what we are doing here over the course of the year, why Endurance Nation is different, why training with a team is the way to go, and how we can help make you successful. Until then, I look forward to hearing from you online somewhere, and sit back here now and enjoy this episode.
Endurance Nation.
Hey everyone, it's Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back into the Videocast podcast. This week, I'm talking to you about that Insider Ironman Kona World Championship taper. Our insight as a team, collectively, and then mine personally as well. I haven't been a 10-time Kona finisher and an 11-time Kona qualifier. Still leave. But an opportunity for you to learn from the community about what works for us and how we handle the taper. Part of our approach of making you a smarter, faster athlete and skipping the line, breaking down that old school vanilla training approach to thinking about progress and having to earn your stripes and make lots of mistakes and learn iteratively over and over and over again. It's the equivalent of just driving heavier and heavier trucks over a bridge until the bridge breaks. Now you learn and then you build a new bridge. Don't do that with your time. It's too valuable. There's lots of other things you want to do in addition to being an excellent endurance athlete. And the last thing you want to do is certainly line yourself up for a path that you know is riddled with errors that you have to simply survive like some kind of gauntlet in order to reach your desired end result of success. So here inside Endurance Nation today, with this Insider World Championships taper talk, I'm going to break this down for you a little bit and hopefully help you skip a couple steps, let you realize the goals that you want to realize, and most importantly, enjoy your time there on the Big Island, particularly for those of you who are there for the first time. It's just a special place. And last thing we want you to do is to show up and be exhausted, unable to race to your potential because you did something crazy wrong and kind of mucked it up. Okay, so we'll talk about it. All right, here we go. First and foremost, get my notes right here. First thing we want to do is set an experience baseline. Like, what is it we're looking to do here in Kona? And I think it's important to have that conversation with yourself, with your coach, with your loved ones or your training partners, whoever's supporting you, because there's a large part of you that wants to be the fastest you've ever been and to represent well, given the conditions and the competition level here at the World Championship stage. At the same time, stepping on that fast lever in a new environment with super challenging conditions and the best in the world also lining up next to you means that you're really priming yourself for success, because you're going to work harder than you've ever worked to be ready for the hardest race you've ever done, which you've never done, so you don't know how hard it is for reals, but you're going to do a lot of extra work now. So it's equivalent of like cramming for a test, but doing it for weeks and weeks upon end, depriving yourself of sleep, just poor self-hygiene. Eventually you kind of break down, perhaps even sleep through the test, never hearing your alarm, ruining the whole escapade. And we don't want to have that happen to you. So really important we set that experience baseline. And what I recommend to athletes is that you want to show up to Kona with the fitness that allows you to enjoy the experience. I'm not saying Kona's easy. I'm not going to say you're going to walk away from there saying, this is fantastic and it was great. Like, they gave me drinks and I had a great time. It's not a vacation. But for endurance athletes, this is sort of that pinnacle achievement. You're at the top of the mountain. You want to be able to look around, savor it. You want to see the experiences, embrace everything around you, take it in from all your senses. And if you show up and you're exhausted and you've lost some of your faculties, then you're really just pushing through and just doing whatever it takes to get to the next step. which is possible. It is an Ironman after all. Anything is possible, but you have 17 hours to do it. But if you don't have to make it so damn hard on yourself, why would you do it in the first place? So really set that baseline and make sure that you're fit enough to enjoy, embrace, inhale, experience everything that's happening around you. Beyond that, we can start talking about performance and getting all geeky about things, okay? All right. Second bullet here is that we want to make sure that we pile on, we'll get into the specifics now. We want to pile on your open water swim experience in these last few weeks. So a huge part about the taper, you can use this as a chance to really amp up your swim skills related to open water. Now, if you don't have open water to swim in, or your open water swimming is kind of lost because it's cooler outside, you can still swim in a pool as though it is open water. That doesn't mean removing all the lane lines and tricking people into swimming all around you, although you could maybe try that. Or if you have an incredible master swim coach, maybe she or he will do that for you. But in reality, it really means adjusting your stroke for what it will be like to swim in open water. Open water swimming has a lot of the sort of adventurous elements that pool swimming does not. It's not about perfect strokes. It's about frequency and consistency of stroke rate. So we keep up our volume. And generally speaking, people tend to have a higher cadence in open water, where we're not really focused so much on the achieving the perfect catch, but rather holding on to that finish. So we're keeping our arms going around in the water, and really keeping the finish, because we can have great finishes in open water. Nobody is where my legs are, but there's a ton of people in front of me and I'm going to hit everybody when I'm out there swimming. So really building that open water swim resiliency. If you want to make it extra hard in the pool, you can take an ankle band. Even with a floaty, you have a pool buoy and the ankle band. It'll make it a little bit harder for you, allow you to get into that rhythm with your upper body and set the tone for what you want to be able to do in the open water. Okay. You can practice on your sighting, keeping up your rhythm, all of those good things. Okay. Second thing we want to do here from an action standpoint with the Ideal Kona taper is that we really want to split that long run. People head into Kona. It's the end of the year. You've been doing a lot of training. And of all the training that we do as triathletes, the run has the highest cost to us physiologically. But we also place the highest value on those long runs, just so we place them on long rides. But long runs are super costly. And guess what? Long runs at the end of a long season are even more costly. Even though you've been running at a certain volume and you feel like you're good, it's hard sometimes to discern the stress that your body is under from an infrastructure perspective, simply because your eyes are focused on the prize and you want to be successful and you've got targets associated with it. So rather than forcing that run and saying, oh, I've got to run 3 hours this weekend or something, in general, Endurance Nation says no running longer than 2.5 hours, no matter what it is that we split that long run. So instead of doing, 90 minutes or, 100 minutes or 120 minutes really hard, break it down, do an hour in the morning and an hour at night, or do, an hour in the morning and half an hour, or 40 minutes or 45 minutes at night. If you keep those workouts within about 8 hours of each other, they'll be challenging enough. And in reality, what happens is you can still run that first run well, not suffer any of the sort of like poor form or deleterious effects from accumulating too much fatigue. Go through your day, whatever that looks like for you, and then come back and do that second run. And that second run, actually, it's really hard to motivate for. It's mentally super tough. And that's a very valuable skill as we head into Kona, is to be ready to handle the nuances of what it means to get back to the thing at hand, to do the work that we need to do, even though we don't want to. That split run really brings that to the forefront. You get in all the miles that you want to get in without the associated fatigue. We're so perfectly ready. So turn that long run into split runs. Again, we recommend morning and night. You can also do night and the next morning, but there's a lot of rest in between those two. So we recommend morning and night as much as you're able. Morning and lunchtime can also work depending on your schedule, or lunch and evening. It doesn't really matter in that space, but do your best. Okay. All right. The third action element for you is to think a little bit about the unique aspect of what Kona is, which is this open water swim followed by a relatively fast start to the bike. And in general, getting to Hawi as fast as you can is preferred because it reduces the amount of time you spend on the wind on the way back. Not everybody is out there to really rip it up, but the racers around you will be doing it, and you'll be part of that mechanism, the flow, if you will, and you want to be ready for it. And the key workout that we recommend that you do inside this space is a long swim, open water or not. Even if the open water needs to be in a wetsuit, that's fine, followed by a 70.3 bike. And by that, I mean 56 miles at 70.3 effort. So you get all the work related to a longer ride, but you get it done at half Ironman time, 3 hours, 3:10, 3:15. So you're not biking 4 hours or 5 hours, but you're stacking that hard bike right after that long swim. This is going to teach you a great deal about nutrition on the bike and what you need to do. It's also going to teach you that, you know what? It's not easy to hold watts when you get out of a long swim. A lot of people get disconnected in Hawaii. They get out of the water and they get on the bike and say, I'm so tired. What's happening? But you've been doing a lot of long rides, but not long swims and then rides. This workout, which is easy to replicate on a weekend or Friday if you work from home or have a half day, is an opportunity for you to really reconcile that. If you can do your long swim, Ironman pace, do your jam, 2.4 miles, and then get out and do a hard bike, 70.3 style, ease into it safely, dial it up to that sort of zone 3, always be pushing pace that we love here inside Endurance Nation, and really sit on that number. It's really going to prepare you mentally and physically to be successful with that transition. It'll help you dial in your nutrition and build critical mental strength as well. So super important. And the last piece here related to action for you, and the final bullet of today's conversation, really gets back to nutrition. Even though it's cooler now, on the Big Island, it's going to be hot, and it's hot. But what you're not really thinking about necessarily is the amount of food and fluids that you need to take in order to survive the day. You just burn through fluids faster in Hawaii because of the temperature, the conditions that you're in. Now, of course, as you slow down over the course of the day, or should something go wrong and you slow down a lot, you don't need as much fluids. You're not working as hard. But when you're going at your normal race speed, you're going to need fluids and you're going to need fuel. It's just harder. Now, on hotter days, we sort of slide more to the fluid side and fluid calories than we do to solid foods. Each athlete is different, and this is the time to practice it. You should totally be dialed in. Every single workout, anything longer than half an hour, should have a bar, a block, a chew, a bottle, and then you can and get your calories in and just practice. You want to turn this into second nature for you. And though some of you are worried about body composition, in honesty, it's really hard to binge on gels. Don't worry about it. We want great workouts. We want zero fatigue from that session because you've shown up poorly fueled or low on glycogen. Do the right thing. Get really good at processing and eating food. You'll learn more about which ones you like. You'll cross off some of those mistakes that you may have otherwise made on race day. And you'll be prepared to handle the nuances of the day, adjust your nutrition accordingly based on how you feel, because you'll have seen a variety of conditions here during taper time to help you prepare just for that. And this also goes even for those indoor sessions as well. For those of you training in slightly cooler climates, we still want to fuel. We still want to have the fluids there. Even swim workouts, have your Gatorade or sports drink or whatever it is on the deck. Make sure that you're doing all the things to stay hydrated. That in-workout nutrition becomes a critical part of what helps set you up for the day by keeping you healthy now and consistent now, but also preparing you for the act of consuming and a lot on race day itself. All right, so that's it. Coach Patrick here signing off with that ideal Kona taper. I do want to remind you that setting those expectations again early, super important. Get that alignment in there. The first race is, especially if it's your first Kona, is a story that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life, and you'll be telling everyone about it. People want to know about it. You want to remember it, not in I did this to myself because I just thought I was different than all the other people who've gone before me, but more so in this is my plan, this is what I did, this is what happened to me when I did my plan, and this is how I handled it. You want to have some great experiences, but you want to do it within the bandwidth of the elements that you can control. And there's no reason to go outside those limits just to prove a point. There'll be plenty of time for you to have a great race. And if you capture everything you learned from Kona, it's going to set you up to become a phenomenal racer in the future. Yeah, who knows? You may even be back. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. I'll see you next week with another broadcast. Until then, take care. Peace.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.